Okay.
Hey guys, and welcome to Tanashi's Movie Corner. And for today's movie versus matchup, we will be doing it between Toy Story 3 and Frozen. So in order to determine the winner of this matchup, we go based upon plot, main character, side character, songs, humor, villain slash antagonist, cast, romance, action, themes, and memorability. So let's go ahead and jump right into it with plot. And for plot, we gave it to Toy Story 3. When it comes down to it, Toy Story 3 it has a bit more going with its plot. It's got a lot of subtext to it about what their goals are, why they're doing the things that they decide to do. It's ultimately, the themes are a very intricate part of it, and even though themes are separate, they do help this plot along quite a bit. And again, there's just a lot more going to it, whereas Frozen is nice, but it's pretty straightforward, and there's just not as much, there's not as many layers to it as what you get for Toy Story 3. Moving on to main character, we gave main character to Frozen for Anna and Elsa. Toy Story 3, again, the focus of the main character would be on Woody, not Buzz, like what you got for, say, Toy Story 2 a little bit more. But Anna and Elsa are pretty well-developed characters. You really feel and connect with both of them. They both have their pluses and their minuses, and I think it works really well, and it really showcases them, highlights them in a very good way. Whereas Woody, yes, we've gotten to know him over 3 films now, but that being said, even though he is the main character of this, you just don't get as much in relation to him. There's not as much to his character as individually as there is to, say, all the characters. But anyway, for side characters, we gave that to Toy Story 3. Buzz is a great side character. Andy's a good side character. You have the little girl who kind of takes Woody in, and you've got Mr. Potato Head and the pig and Mrs. Potato Head and Slink and Rex and all them, and they really do a good job. They all have their little moments, whereas Frozen just doesn't incorporate that as much. Again, the focus is on an Elsa. So for songs, we went and gave that one to Frozen. Toy Story 3 doesn't have as many songs. Some of it is incorporating old songs. There's a funny way that it does one of them. However, Frozen, aside from Let It Go, which is kind of the obvious go-to one, and it's a great song, you have other songs that they sing throughout the movies that are pretty good songs in a sense in their own right. Let It Go is the main one that stands out, but there are a few other songs that are also good, and it works a little better than just a repetition of a song that we know is good, but it was good in a previous film and doesn't really work as well in this one. It doesn't get the same impact. For humor, we gave that one also to Frozen. They both have their sets of humor to it. Frozen just seems to use it a bit more. It doesn't always work, but it seems to work a little better than Toy Story 3, which doesn't really have a focus on it. So moving on to villain, slash antagonist, we gave that one to Toy Story 3. The bear, Teddy Bear, is a much more relatable villain. In a way, you understand where he's coming from, even if he is most certainly a villain in some of the decisions that he tries to do. He's a bit more active in the film than in Frozen, and I understand that they were trying to keep the villain in Frozen under wraps, but it didn't come across the same way, and felt like they kind of just wrote it in at the last minute, whereas Toy Story 3, the villain has a purpose. Moving on to cast. This one was a bit tough. The cast, you got some good cast from both films. We ended up going with Toy Story 3 because at this point, Woody and Buzz and Mr. Potato, Miss Potato Head, and Rex, and all them. There's a lot more characters that have very distinguished voices that really incorporate what the characters are, versus Frozen, which does have some strong presence of voices, like say with Anna and Elsa and Olaf, but they're fewer in number. So by numbers count, we gave it to Toy Story 3. Moving on to romance, that was pretty easy. They both incorporate it, but Frozen does a bit of a better job with it than Toy Story 3 does. Again, Toy Story 3 has a romance, but it's really kind of under the radar. It's not really developed as well. It's just kind of there. Whereas Frozen makes a big deal of kind of addressing that at the beginning of the film and then throughout the film. For action, we also gave that one to Frozen. They both incorporate action to it. Frozen just has, I think Frozen has a little bit more, and there's just some suspenseful scenes in both of them near the end of the movie. So, ruling that aside, because those are I think Frozen just has a little bit more going in that direction. For themes, we gave that to Toy Story 3. I've said this in the other video, the whole thing about moving on and growing up, the kind of child imagination thing is a good one. The friendship and kind of family aspect of it as well, and sticking together and all that works really well. Frozen has a few as well about sisters and true love and everything, but Toy Story 3 just incorporated it in a better manner, and it was the focus of it, which was kind of built up over two other movies, so they really delivered very well here, and that goes into memorability, where there was a lot more memorable scenes for Toy Story 3 than there was for Frozen, which Frozen had a few, mostly Let It Go, but at the same time, I think Toy Story 3 just had more moments to it. The entire final scene is a moment. You have the opening scene with kind of the montage with Andy and everything. It's a great moment. So it just has more impactful moments to it as a film, and as a trilogy, it just kind of worked better. So that'll about wrap this up, and we have a tally of 6-5 in favor of Toy Story 3, so Toy Story 3 is the winner. Kind of what I expected going into it, but Frozen gave it a good run, a bit surprisingly for me, but it gave it a good run. And, they're both good films, so... but what do you guys think? Would you have picked Toy Story 3, or would you have gone with Frozen? Go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. Hopefully you enjoyed this vid, and click that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Share this vid, and watch my other videos and comment on them. I enjoy hearing from you guys. Anyway, like I said, that'll wrap this up. So until next time, peace.